Hello my lovelies, I hope you're all well. Today we're going to be looking at the SAS siege of the Iranian embassy. This was back in 1980, so it was before I was born, but I have heard about it obviously because it's one of the most famous SAS operations that we were actually made aware of, because obviously a lot of their stuff is done in secret. But anyway, we're going to watch this together, and this is an animated reenactment type thing, I believe. So let's see. Okay, you ready to see some badass SAS guys doing their stuff animated? In 3, 2, 1. Know a little bit about what happened, not lots.
It's 11:30 a.m. on April the 30th, 1980. A car pulls up next to the Iranian embassy at 16 Prince's Gate in South Kensington in London. 6 men armed with submachine guns and automatic pistols quickly exit the car, run across the street and burst through the embassy's front doors, shouting and firing wildly into the air. The diplomatic constable, PC Trevor Locke, is swiftly detained by the attackers, who then round up 26 hostages from the embassy staff and visitors. However, Locke presses the panic button on his radio before he is overwhelmed, alerting Scotland Yard to this developing crisis in the heart of London. The 6 men come from the oil-rich Iranian region of Kazakhstan, an area long repressed by the Shah of Iran. A year earlier in 1979, the Iranian Revolution toppled the Shah and brought Ayatollah Khomeini to power. The Kazakhstanis supported the revolution in the hope that Khomeini will grant them greater autonomy. However, Khomeini proves just as brutal in his management of the region, sparking a rebellion which is aggressively crushed. Hundreds of Kazakhstanis are killed or imprisoned, but the crackdown inspires a group calling themselves the Democratic Revolutionary Front for the Liberation of Arabistan to carry out militant action against the Iranian regime. The front plans to give the Ayatollah a taste of his own medicine. They find a partner in Iraqi President Saddam Hussein, who is eager to annex Kazakhstan into his own country. The 6 men in 16 Prince's Gate have been trained and armed by the Iraqi government, who smuggle their weapons into London in the Iraqi diplomatic bag. The militants plan to use their hostages to force the Iranian government to release Kazakhstani prisoners. Their leader, Awan Ali Mohammed, promises the hostages will all die if their demands are not met. At the embassy, London Metropolitan Police are on the scene within minutes, and the outside of the building is secured. At the same time, members of the elite Special Air Service are finishing a training exercise in the famous Killing House at their headquarters in Herefordshire when their alert beepers go off. Confused, the soldiers wonder if it's a mistake until they receive a simple message from SAS Director Peter de Billier in London. This is the real thing, pack your gear. 22 Regiment SAS is dispatched to London under the command of Lieutenant Colonel Michael Rose. While the SAS team is on its way, Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher and Home Secretary Willie Whitelaw agree on a strategy. The police will handle negotiations, but if a hostage is killed, then the SAS will storm the building. Negotiations begin between the police and Owan, who makes his demands known while the SAS prepares for a military assault. The next 4 days are tense. As the negotiations drag on, the SAS, along with MI5, have been carefully surveying the building. To cover the sound of MI5 specialists implanting listening devices in the walls, the British government reroutes passenger flights bound for Heathrow to fly low over the embassy. From May 1st to May 4th, Owan releases 4 hostages, 2 who had fallen ill, and 2 others after the BBC agrees to publicise his demands. The release of each hostage brings hope that the crisis will be resolved peacefully. However, on May the 5th, the 6th day, Owan is becoming increasingly irritable at the lack of progress and has run out of patience. A telegram is delivered to the hostages from the Iranian Foreign Minister, who praises them but ominously writes, "We feel certain that you are all ready for martyrdom alongside your nation." At 1:45 p.m, A series of shots are heard from within the embassy, and 5 hours later, a body is dumped outside the door, along with a threat that the militants will kill the rest of the hostages within 30 minutes if their demands are not met.
Get the boys
Thatcher
in.
and her cabinet understand there's no going back now, and operational control is handed over to the SAS, with Lieutenant Colonel Rose in local command. Rose's plan is codenamed Operation Nimrod. 2 teams will assault the embassy at the same time. Red team will storm the 2nd, 3rd and 4th floors from the roof, while blue team will clear the basement, ground and 1st floor from the embassy garden. Both teams must breach at the exact same time to ensure surprise and give the hostages the best chance of survival. Even so, the British government is told by SAS Director de la Billière that the best case scenario is that 40% of the hostages will become casualties. New cameras trained on the embassy catch the SAS teams moving into position and snipers setting up on nearby rooftops. With the UK on a bank holiday, the entire nation is about to watch the rescue operation take place live on their televisions.
I've seen little bits of the footage.
At 7:23 PM, the code word Hyde Park signals red team to hitch up while blue team moves to breach the back door.
Because red team came down.
2 minutes later, London Bridge is radioed to the SAS men, and Operation Nimrod begins. A diversionary explosion blows in the 2nd floor skylight, which is also intended to coincide with red and blue team breaching the building. However, Warrant Officer Thomas Goodyear becomes stuck on his abseiling rope, and red team cannot breach the windows using explosives for fear of wounding him. They instead smash the windows and toss stun grenades as snipers fire CS gas into the building.
CS gas.
Director de la Billière immediately senses the start of the operation has gone wrong because the teams have failed to synchronise their breaches. The stun grenades ignite the window curtains, and the flames set Sergeant Tommy Palmer's gas mask on fire as he enters the building.
No.
Despite the CS gas, Palmer tears off his gas mask and leads his 4-man team into the building while slapping at his singed hair. He spots a militant on the other side of the room dousing the carpet with kerosene and points his MP5 submachine gun at him, only for it to jam as he squeezes the trigger.
Oh my God.
The militant sprints into the hallway with a hand grenade and heads for the telex room, where most of the male hostages are being kept. Running after him into the hallway, Palmer calmly pulls his sidearm and drops the man with a single shot to the head before he can kill any hostages. Upon realising they are being attacked, the 3 militants guarding the telex room begin indiscriminately shooting the male hostages, killing 1 and wounding 2 others. Hearing the shooting, Palmer leads his team to the telex room. They burst through the door where the militants quickly try to hide among the hostages. One of them rises to throw a grenade, but is shot by an SAS operator. Another is lying on the ground, but is discovered and shot when he also attempts to detonate a grenade. Palmer and the SAS team begin evacuating the hostages out of the telex room, not knowing that one of the militants is hidden among them. Meanwhile, half of blue team emerges onto the 1st floor balcony and detonates a frame charge, blowing in the reinforced windows before tossing in stun grenades. One of the hostages, BBC employee Sim Harris, is in the room but unharmed. Blue team moves to the next room, where PC Locke is fighting for his life. The police officer had tackled the militants' leader Awan when the assault began, and is attempting to draw the revolver he has carefully concealed since the beginning of the siege.
Well done him.
However, Awan has gained the upper hand, and is about to shoot Locke when an SAS soldier shoves the militant leader, and another kills him with a burst from his MP5.
Bang!
Both Harris and Locke are safely evacuated. The other half of Blue Team breaches through the rear doors on the ground floor, led by Staff Sergeant Peter Winner. The ground floor is clear, and Winner leads the team to the cellar. After tossing stun grenades, Winner spots a crouching figure in the corner of the darkened room, and empties his entire magazine into it. He finds out later that he has just shot up a dustbin. 1 floor above, the female hostages are found unharmed in the cipher room by Red Team. They join the rest of the hostages being evacuated down the main staircase. Staff Sergeant Winner is shepherding the hostages down the stairs when he notices the hidden militant among them with a grenade in his hand. Just before the militant can pull the pin, Winner instinctively bashes the man with his MP5, sending him crashing down the stairs where 2 SAS soldiers unload into him.
Got him.
The hostages are evacuated to the back garden, where they are bound with plastic cuffs to await identification. 1 militant is still at large before Sim Harris recognises him on the ground, and he is taken into custody. Operation Nimrod is over after 17 minutes. The crime scene is returned to the police, and the SAS teams disappear back to their makeshift headquarters, where, during their debriefing, the men are visited by an unexpected guest. Prime Minister Thatcher walks into the room and announces, "Gentlemen, there is nothing sweeter than success, and you boys have got it." Amid loud cheering, the men are served ice-cold beer.
Nice.
The rescue operation is a success. Of the original 26 hostages, all but one is saved, and 5 of the 6 militants have been killed.
That's amazing.
The SAS has long been an organisation that is content with operating in the shadows, but now the bravery and professionalism of its servicemen is on full display for the world to see.
Yeah.
Millions of Britons have witnessed their...
It was, I think, the first real SAS operation that the public ever truly witnessed. And it must just be because it was on our own soil, you know, because normally the SAS are doing things on deployment. So they're behind enemy lines and all that stuff. So yeah, I think this was the first time. And the fact that it was being televised live as well on a bank holiday, so everybody was home.
Extraordinary work in real time. And over the next few years, the SAS will be swamped by applicants wanting to join their ranks.
Hard to get in though. Very hard to get in. Probably the hardest military application in the world, I would say. Some would say other special forces are harder to get into, but it's all much of a muchness. You know, you've got to be in the 1% basically. 99% need not apply. And you can only apply to be in the SAS if you're already a serving member of the military. I think you have to have done 2 years service as well, something like that. But I'm not 100% sure on that, so correct me if I'm wrong. That was a really good video. I really enjoyed that. I liked the little animation. It was good. I hope you enjoyed that video, and I'll see you very soon.